Hey, 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 and welcome to The Chef's Table, a weekly video series for culinary entrepreneurs who want to monetize their skills outside of the kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Evelyn. This is the place for successful women who want to live, cook, and work on their own terms. So if that's you, let's get started. Hey, 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 it's Chef Evelyn here, and I am back with another episode of The Chef's Table. And today I want to talk about some things that can lead to burnout in your culinary business. Now, I know that a lot of times we are doing all of the things and we're trying to make this thing go, or we're trying to make this thing grow. And if we're not careful, we can start picking up some practices that will really cause stress or anxiety, or just to be exhausted and burnt out. So I want to talk to you about a few things that I know that I've experienced, that, when potential clients or my current clients have come to me and they were doing these things, that these things do lead to burnout. So if you haven't done so already, make sure that you join the Chef Prenu Her Society, because every month I take one of these chef's tables and I do it live so that we have an opportunity to have some Q&A. I pick a really juicy topic that I think is going to be really beneficial to you. But in order for you to access that live session, you need to be a part of the community. And so if you are not already a part of the Chefpreneur Her Society, make sure you go to chefevelyn.com/society so that you can be in the loop and kept up to date on all the things in between these videos, and so that you can be present for the live session so that we can have a little girl chat, interact, I can answer your questions and all that good kind of stuff. Now, if this is your first time here, let me introduce myself. I'm Chef Evelyn, and I specialize in helping women create high-end culinary brands from scratch so they can live, cook, and work on their own terms. And one of the things that's really important is, yes, I want you to build this amazing brand, right? I want you to be able to charge premium prices. I want you to create multiple streams of income. But I also don't want you to get burnt out in the process. So if you've been hanging around here for any period of time, you know that I am not a fan of hustle and grind culture. I don't really like to use that language. If you look up the actual technical definition of hustle and grind, you probably wouldn't subscribe to that either. So, we're not about that. We are about boundaries. We are about harmony, right? We are about, building a business around the way we want to live, cook, and work, and not building the business first and then trying to fit our lives around it. So with that being said, I want to share with you some things that, if you start down this path, or if you've already been down this path, then these things could potentially lead to burnout. And if you've never been here before, I've got my little notes here because I like to make sure that I'm giving you everything that I was thinking about when this topic came to me and that it's beneficial to you. So if you see me looking down, no worries. It's because I am referencing my notes. So let's talk about 7 things that could lead to burnout in your culinary business. And the first thing that can lead to burnout is you don't have a clearly defined brand, right? So you kind of do a little bit of everything. You're a Jane of all trades, if you will. If somebody wants you to cater, you cater. You do corporate catering, you do wedding catering, you do small event catering, you do big event catering. If somebody wants you to do meal prep, you do meal prep. If somebody wants you to do personal chefing, you do personal chefing. If somebody wants you to do dinner parties, you do dinner parties. Cooking classes, cakes, desserts. You have an undefined brand. And so what's happening is that you're trying to flex every time a request comes through, and almost like creating that revenue stream from scratch because you don't want to miss out on, the opportunity or the money or that kind of client. And you haven't gotten really clear about what you do and what you don't do, right? And also maybe you are clear on that, but you don't have the confidence to turn down opportunities that are not in alignment with what you have defined your brand to be. So that can lead to burnout because it's like you're constantly in creation mode, and whether you know it or not, that means you're constantly creating a revenue stream if you're responding to everyone and any request that comes your way. And because you haven't clearly defined the brand, then people, they don't know what you do either. So they're asking you for all types of stuff, right? Whereas if you did have a clearly defined brand, they would know once they encountered your brand and engaged with your brand what you do and what you don't do. Okay, so that is the first one. And I was going to say this, even with the undefined brand, that means you're custom quoting everybody, right? You're custom quoting because, you know, do you have standard pricing for this, standard pricing for that, as far as even what is the customer client experience going to be like? You're trying to create that from scratch every time. It's just a lot, right? And that can lead to burnout if you feel like you're just kind of like chasing your tail around. Okay, so that's the first thing, right? The second thing is that you are lacking systems and structures in your business, and this automatically lead to burnout, right? If you don't have systems and processes in place on how to take somebody from being a potential client all the way to what happens when they're done being your client and all the things that need to happen all the way, if you're manually doing those things, if you don't have that process laid out, if you're not clear on what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, what the client needs, what you needs at every step of the process, you're manually doing it. And if you're manually doing it, I can guarantee that things are falling through the cracks, or people have a lot of questions, or, you know, you're doing a lot of email back and forth. And listen, that can lead to burnout because you could be like, I'm spending so much time trying to navigate with these clients or these opportunities. And it's like, when am I, like, is this the work? And you can get in this hamster wheel of just spending your time fighting fires because you don't have any systems or structures or procedures in your business for the critical things that need to take place, right? Like, and let me tell you, not only does it lead to burnout, but it leads to lost revenue. I have a client right now that we're in our second year of working together, but when she first started working with me, she didn't have any systems in place, right? Before we like rearranged her brand, all we did was went through her business from when she first engages with a potential client all the way till they are no longer a client, and or, you know, they may move on to something else. And all we did was put in systems and structures and procedures and things that needed to be done, and her income 10 times, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, it 10x'd her income. No additional marketing, no additional this, because with those systems in place, right, she was able to capture the people that were coming through better, convert them better, have a better client experience, have a better working experience. Things weren't falling through the gaps, right? So, and here's the thing, she was exhausted, right? Yes, she was custom quoting everyone, you know, everything was manually being done. It was just a lot. And, you know, certain things were missing because there was no SOPs in place, right? So that's the second thing, okay? The third thing where that could cause burnout in your culinary business is that you don't have correct pricing. And this can be on any side of the scale. Your prices could be too low, your prices could be too high, and you don't have the things in place to justify those prices. And you're wondering why either people are negotiating with your prices, or they're nitpicking your invoice apart, or they're trying to skim things off the top, or they're trying to get more than what they budgeted for. And you're like, your budget is only this, and you're trying to get the sun and the moon and the stars. Right? When your pricing is incongruent to your brand, it's stressful. It leads to burnout because sometimes you can feel like you're giving a gallon's worth of effort, a gallon's worth of experience, a gallon's worth of talent, and all of this, and somebody has paid you in teaspoons, but that's because you didn't require for them to pay more, right? Or sometimes you can, you know, if the client feels like they're paying you a gallon, but they're only getting a cup worth, right, then they're frustrated. So then they're also asking for more and things like that. And so it is important that you have correct pricing, that if you're going to have premium pricing, because that's what we do over here with high-end culinary brands, right, that you have all of the things, all of the components in place that justify having premium prices, right? Because having a high-end culinary brand is not just about charging more. That is one of many, many, many components that I teach my clients in the Chef's Table experience about, that it's multi-dimensional to be able to have a high-end culinary brand. And just saying that you have a high-end culinary brand and slapping some higher prices on it will cause you equally the same amount of frustration, if not more, as if you were underpriced. Okay, so that's the third thing, having incorrect pricing for your brand, right? Now, let's move on. The fourth thing that can cause burnout in your culinary business is you don't have a marketing plan. Your marketing plan is posting and praying. I'm going to post these pictures of the food and I'm going to pray that somebody's going to see the picture, click on the link in my Instagram profile, go to my website, go through my website that may not be easy to navigate, figure out how to book me, and then pay me because they saw a picture of something delicious. You don't have a strategic marketing plan, right? Even if you're like, I'm just going to post on social media every day. What is the strategy? That's a tactic. What's the strategy? Do you have a strategic marketing plan? Do you have a plan on how people are going to find out about your business, and all the way from once they find out about you, all the way through them giving you the money for your services? What's that plan? Where did you come up with it? Is it strategic? Do you know what all the phases are from the point of how do I even find new people all the way to what to do when people have already become a client? Do you know what those steps are? Right? I walk my clients through a very detailed process just on that part alone, right? On how to create a strategic marketing plan, because there's marketing and then there's advertising, right? And then there's just posting and praying, hoping and wishing and praying and hoping is not a marketing strategy. Okay. Singing is not my ministry. Okay. Also, what also can cause burnout in your culinary business and brand is not only not having a strategic marketing plan, but having an inconsistent one. So let's say maybe you worked with someone and they helped you develop a strategic marketing plan, and all of the components from people finding you all the way through to when they have become a client and now they are a previous client. And maybe you know what all those pieces are, but you're not doing them consistently, right? And I can tell you one thing, if you don't have a strategic marketing plan or you don't have a consistent marketing plan, I can guarantee you have inconsistent cash flow, right? So your revenue in your business is directly tied to the strategicness and the consistency of your marketing plan. Absolutely. Now, also pricing plays a part in that, which we talked about. Branding plays a part of that, right? All of those things come together. And if you don't have someone who can kind of audit your brand and tell you, oh, you've got this down, but there's a hole missing here, or you've got this down, but you need to tighten up here, or all of this is missing, or you have all these pieces, but they're not talking to each other, they don't make sense together, right? Then I can guarantee you are headed, if you're not already experiencing, you're headed down a path of burnout, right? Oh, here's the next one. And this one is the one, is you don't have any boundaries in your business. You know, how many times can a client change their menu? What is your policy to book with you? You know, one of the things that I talk about in the Freelance Chef Starter Kit is like your booking policy, your cancellation policy, your rescheduling policy, like all of the policies and procedures. Those, AKA, these are your business boundaries. But also, like, do you have boundaries for yourself around your business, right? On implementing that marketing plan consistently, doing your finances, what are your office hours, things like that. Like, there's so many different boundaries that you need to have in your business, right? Here's the thing, people know I don't work on Fridays, okay? It's just not a thing, right? So if you email me on a Friday, you're not going to get a response till Monday afternoon. My assistant doesn't check email to the end of the day, right? So if you email in the morning and you want an immediate response, you're not going to get one, right? Because we have boundaries in the business. If you email me, I can guarantee you I am not the one responding. That's a boundary in my business, right? So you need to define what the boundaries are in your business, because if not, you're going to be doing all the things and you're going to be exhausted, and then you're going to be upset, and then you're going to start to resent your business, right? And we don't want that, okay? And then the last thing, this call it burnout in your business, is kind of the opposite of what we talked about before, is if you have all your eggs in one basket, right? Like, look at what happened to the food service industry in 2020. Now, I am not a fan of you need to turn on all your revenue streams at one time, but here's the thing that can cause burnout. If the one revenue stream that you're focusing on requires you to physically be there in order to generate revenue, in order to make money, in order to have income, right? Then you're going to burn out, because then you won't ever be able to take off. Okay, because if you take off and you're not in the kitchen, that means when you're not working, the money's not coming in. And when you know that in order to take off, right, then I'm going to take a hit financially, that causes burnout, because one or two things happen. Either you're not going to take off, okay, or when you take off, you're not really going to be off, or you're going to feel guilty about taking off, because you're like, I need to keep this thing afloat, because when I stop working, the money stops coming in, right? So, I want you to ask yourself, out of all the 7 things that I listed, right? Like, is your brand clearly defined? Do people know what you do, what you don't do? Do you know what you do, what you don't do, right? Do you have systems and structures and processes and SOPs for every single thing that needs to happen in your business? Is your pricing on point? Okay. Do you have a strategic marketing plan? Are you consistent in that marketing plan, right? Do you have boundaries in your business? Is your income stream dependent upon you being there all the time, right? If you see like, ooh, Evelyn, like I have one of these or multiple of these or whatever, listen, you need to get you some support so that you don't get burnt out, right? And let me give you a bonus one, is trying to do everything yourself, trying to be a Jane of all trades. You're your graphic designer, you're your administrative assistant, you're your own coach, you're your own social media manager, you're your own money manager, you're your own lawyer, accountant, you're your own copywriter. So I'm not saying you have to hire all those people in your business immediately. I'm not saying that if you don't have all of that staff and all of that team, right, that you're going to have burnout. I don't have all of that staff yet, right? But there are technologies, there are services, there are things that I do pay for in my business to alleviate some of that, right? I do have administrative help, but I also have services and products and things that help support my business, because I cannot be a Jane of all trades, because then I'm going to be the master of none, right? And what I am masterful at is helping women build high-end culinary brands from scratch. I don't need to be masterful at graphic design. I don't need to be a masterful administrative assistant, right? I don't need to be masterful at whatever, right? What I am masterful at is teaching you how to create multiple streams of income in your business and building a business that helps you live, cook, and work on your own terms. So whatever your specialty is in your culinary business, like when I was doing culinary more full-time, masterful at teaching cooking classes, like probably one of the best that I know. I've been teaching in-person and online cooking classes for 11 years. I am masterful at that, right? So, leaning into what I'm really good at. But listen, if you are headed down these paths, or if any of these things resonated with you, then you need to put a plan in place to rectify that, right? Now, if you're a person that you're like, you already know that you're not here for the burnout, like you want to avoid these things, and you're like, Evelyn, where do I start? This is the kind of thing that I walk my clients through step by step in the Chef's Table experience, right? We build high-end culinary brands. Here's the thing I tell people: you're either going to invest at a high level with your financial resources, or you're going to invest at a high level with your time, with your frustration, with all of the things, with mistakes or whatever. Neither one of them is wrong. I have learned both ways. I am just in a place in my life where I'd rather invest my financial resources, and because I can always make that back, than to invest my time, right? Like, and get it wrong, okay? So if somebody can help me, I'm like, listen, how much? I'm ready to go, because I know that you can help me shorten the learning curve, right? And that's the kind of women I work with. The women that I work with are over Google searching. They're over looking at other people's websites, seeing what they're doing. They're over trying to DIY everything themselves. They are at a place in their life, in their business, in their career, where they're like, you've already done it, so walk me through it. So I'm not trying to piecemeal it together and trying to create a high-end culinary brand from scraps on these internet streets, right? Or you're not trying to copy somebody else, not even knowing if they have a successful business model. So with that being said, if that is you, then I would say apply for the Chef's Table experience and schedule your diagnostic strategy call On that call, it's kind of like taking your car to a mechanic or taking your self to the doctor. You make an appointment, you schedule an appointment, you pay for the appointment so they can analyze what's going on. They're going to ask you a lot of questions. They're going to run a lot of tests. They're going to look at your history, right? It's the same thing that we would do on that call to see if you are a good fit for the chef's table experience, to see if the chef table experience is a good fit for you, to see if I'm a good fit for your strategist, to see if you're a good fit for me, and to see if you're a good fit for the ladies that are already in the program, because I'm very, very protective of that community. So if that's you, go to chefevelyn.com/apply. And let's have a conversation about where you are, where you're trying to go, and what's been getting in the way, and how we can keep you and prevent you or fix if you have been experiencing any of these things that lead to culinary burnout. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Peace. Now, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you never miss a new episode. And to see what I'm cooking up behind the scenes, make sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook as Chef Evelyn. That's all for today, and I'll see you next week. Peace.